Now we have the algebra of continuous function. Let f and g be two real functions continuous at a real number c. That means f and g are two real functions and they are continuous at this point c. Now f and g are both continuous at c. So one thing is clear, the c is a point in the domain of f as well as in the domain of g. Now, the result says if f and g are continuous at the point c, then f plus g is also continuous at the point c. Because limit f plus gx as x approaches c, this is equals to fx plus gx. By definition of this addition function, now this is equals to limit fx as x approaches c plus limit gx as x approaches c. Now as fx is continuous at c, therefore this limiting value should be equal to fc, and also g is continuous at c, so this limiting value should be equal to gc, and it is the value of the function f plus g at c. So this limiting value is equal to the value of the function at the point c, therefore f plus g is continuous at c. Similarly, f minus g will be continuous at c. That is, if f and g are continuous functions at c, then their difference f minus g will also be continuous. Similarly, their product, that is f dot g, will also be continuous at c, and their quotient f over g will also be continuous at c, provided gc is not equal to 0. So, we have seen that if f and g are two real functions continuous at a real number c, then f plus g will be continuous at c, f minus g will be continuous at c, fg will be continuous at c, f by g will be continuous at c, provided gc is not equal to 0. Now look here. We have seen that sin x is continuous for all x which belong to the domain of sin x. Similarly, cos x is continuous for all x which belong to R. Now, we know that tan x is equal to sin x over cos x, and cos x should not be equal to 0, therefore x should not be equal to the odd multiple of pi by 2. Right? Now, sine function is continuous function, cos function is continuous function. So, by this result, the quotient of two continuous functions is continuous. Therefore, I can conclude that tan x function, which is the quotient of sin x and cos x, the quotient of two continuous functions will be continuous at every point of its domain. So, tan x being the quotient of two continuous functions will be continuous on its domain. Similarly, cot x, it can be written as cos x over sin x. And yes, here sin x should not be equal to 0. Therefore, x is not equal to n pi, where n belongs to z. Again, being the quotient of two continuous functions, cot x will be continuous on its domain. Also, cosecant x, which can be written as 1 over sin x, where x is not equal to n pi. Cosecant x, again being the quotient of two continuous functions, will be continuous, because here numerator is 1 and 1 is a constant polynomial, and we have learnt that polynomial functions are continuous functions. So here 1 is a continuous function, sin x is a continuous function. So the quotient of two continuous functions will be continuous. So therefore, cosecant function will be continuous on its domain. Similarly, secant x, which is 1 over cos x, where x is not equal to 2n plus 1 pi by 2, is continuous. Reason, 1 is a continuous function, being a polynomial function, cos x is continuous function, therefore the quotient of two continuous functions will also be continuous. Therefore, secant function will be continuous on its domain. Now let's take one question. The question is, find all points of discontinuity of the function f(x) equals to x over mod x if x is strictly less than 0, and f(x) is equal to minus 1 if x is greater than or equal to 0. Yes, domain of this function is R. And we have to find out all points of discontinuity. That means we have to find out the points at which this function is not continuous. Right? Now look here. For all x less than 0, f(x) is equal to x over absolute value of x. Now, x being a polynomial function will be continuous, and modulus function, we know it is continuous. So, quotient of two continuous functions is continuous. So therefore, this function will be continuous for all x which are less than 0. Right? Similarly, for all x greater than 0, f(x) is equal to minus 1, which is a constant polynomial. And we know that a polynomial function is a continuous function. So, what we have seen, for all x less than 0, f(x) is continuous, and for all x greater than 0, f(x) is continuous. Now we have to see the continuity at x equal to 0. For checking the continuity, we compute the left hand limit, we compute the right hand limit, and we compute the value of the function at the point. Now, when I compute the left hand limit at 0, left hand limit में we approach 0 through the values less than 0. So while computing the left hand limit, fx will follow this definition, right? And when we compute right hand limit, that means that we are approaching 0 through values greater than 0. So in that case, fx will follow this definition. So while computing left hand limit and right hand limit, fx is following two different definitions. So there is a possibility that left hand limit and right hand limit may differ. So the possible point of discontinuity is x equal to 0. So we will check the continuity of the function at x equal to 0. So for that, left hand limit at x equal to 0. Left hand limit at x equal to 0 is denoted by limit fx x tends to 0 minus. Yes, we are approaching 0 through values smaller than 0. That means we are here at x and definitely x will be smaller than 0. So here x will be equal to 0 minus h. So we put x equal to 0 minus h. Now as x tends to 0, then h will tend to 0. As you move closer to 0, this h will tend to 0. So I'll get limit f 0 minus h as h approaches 0. Now 0 minus h is definitely less than 0. So here your input is less than 0. So whenever input x is less than 0, function fx is equal to this. So we will apply this definition, and in this definition, role of x is being played by 0 minus h. So wherever there is x, I will replace it with 0 minus h. So I'll get 0 minus h over absolute value of 0 minus h, and limit h tends to 0. So I'll get minus h over absolute value of minus h, and limit h is tending to 0. That will give you minus h, absolute value of minus h is h, limit h is tending to 0. This will get cancelled out. So I'll get here minus 1. So limit h tends to 0, minus 1 is minus 1. So left hand limit is minus 1. Now we will compute the right hand limit at x equal to 0. Right hand limit is denoted by limit fx as x tends to 0 plus. That means we are approaching 0 through values greater than 0. So we are here at x, and definitely x will be greater than 0. Greater than 0 means 0 plus something. So here we put x as 0 plus h. Now again, as x tends to 0, then h will tend to 0. So I'll get limit h tends to 0 f 0 plus h. Now 0 plus h is greater than 0. 0 plus something. So definitely this will be greater than 0. So when the input x is greater than 0, fx is equal to minus 1. So therefore, f of 0 plus h will be equal to minus 1, because this input x is greater than 0. So limit minus 1 as h approaches 0 will be minus 1. So right hand limit is minus 1. Also, value of the function fx when x is 0 is minus 1. So f0 is minus 1. So left hand limit is equal to right hand limit is equal to f0. Therefore, f is continuous at x equal to 0. Now, 0 was the only possible point of discontinuity. And we have checked that at x equal to 0, the function fx is continuous. So therefore, we conclude that there is no point of discontinuity. That means function is continuous at every point of its domain. Let's take another question. Find all points of discontinuity of the function fx where fx is equal to absolute value of x plus 3 if x is less than equal to minus 3, fx is equal to minus 2x when x is greater than minus 3 and less than 3, and fx is equal to 6x plus 2 if x is greater than equal to 3. We have to find out all points of discontinuity. Now look here. For x less than minus 3, fx is equal to absolute value of x plus 3. Now this function is continuous, being a modulus function. This is a continuous function because it is a polynomial function. It is a constant number and it is a polynomial function. And we know that sum of two continuous functions is continuous. So for all x less than minus 3, fx will be continuous. When x is greater than minus 3, less than 3, fx is equal to minus 2x, which is again a polynomial function. Therefore, fx will be continuous. Similarly, when x is strictly greater than 3, fx will be 6x plus 2, which is a polynomial function. Therefore, fx will be continuous. So, we have seen that. Yes, this is the number line minus infinity to infinity, which is the domain of the function fx, the real number line. Now when x is less than minus 3, that is for all x which lie in this part, function is continuous. When x is greater than minus 3 and less than 3, then also the function is continuous. And when x is strictly greater than 3, then also the function is continuous. And we are left with 2 points, minus 3 and 3. Now, minus 3 and 3, they are the possible points of discontinuity of this function fx, because for checking the continuity, we compute the left hand limit, right hand limit and the value of the function, right? When I compute left hand limit at minus 3, then function will be following this definition. And when I compute right hand limit at minus 3, function will follow this definition. So as the function will be following two different definitions while computing the left hand limit and the right hand limit, so there is a chance that the two limits may differ. So minus 3 is the possible point of discontinuity. Similarly, when I compute the left hand limit at 3, x less than 3, function will follow this definition. And when I compute the right hand limit, x greater than 3, function will follow this definition. So there is a chance that the left hand limit and the right hand limit at 3 may differ. So minus 3 and plus 3, they are the possible points of discontinuity. So we will check the continuity of the function at these 2 points. So let's check the continuity at x equal to minus 3. Left hand limit at x equal to minus 3 is denoted by limit fx as x approaches minus 3. This negative sign indicates that we are approaching minus 3 through values smaller than minus 3. Yes. This is minus 3 and this is 3. We are approaching minus 3 through values smaller than minus 3. So if this is our x, then definitely x will be smaller than minus 3 because we are approaching minus 3 from this side. So we will put x equal to minus 3 minus h. Now as x approaches minus 3, therefore h will tend to 0. So I'll get limit f minus 3 minus h as h tends to 0. Role of x is being played by this. Now minus 3 minus h is definitely less than minus 3. So when the input is less than minus 3, fx is equal to this. So f of minus 3 minus h will be given by this and role of x is being given to minus 3 minus h. So wherever in this definition there is x, replace it with minus 3 minus h. So I'll get absolute value of minus 3 minus h plus 3 where h tends to 0. This is equals to absolute value of negative 3 plus h plus 3 where h tends to 0. And this absolute value is 3 plus h and plus 3. On applying the limit, I'll get 6. So left hand limit is equal to 6. Now let us compute the right hand limit at x equal to minus 3. Limit fx as x tends to minus 3 plus. This plus sign indicates that we are approaching minus 3 through values greater than minus 3. That means this is minus 3. So we are approaching minus 3 through this side. Values greater than minus 3. So we are here at x and definitely x will be equal to minus 3 plus something. And that something is h. Now again, as x tends to minus 3, h will tend to 0. So I'll get limit f minus 3 plus h, h tends to 0. Now minus 3 plus h is definitely greater than minus 3, but it will be less than 3 because this point is in the very close neighborhood of minus 3. So minus 3 plus h will lie between minus 3 and 3. So function will follow this definition. So I'll get limit minus 2 x and role of x is given to minus 3 plus h and h is tending to 0. I'll get 6 minus 2h as h tends to 0 and on applying the limit I'll be getting 6. So right hand limit at minus 3 is 6. Also value of the function at minus 3. At minus 3 value of the function is given by this. So I'll get absolute value of minus 3, x is equal to minus 3 and plus 3. So this will be 6. So left hand limit is equal to right hand limit is equal to f minus 3. Therefore function is continuous at x equal to minus 3. So minus 3 is not the point of discontinuity because function is continuous at minus 3. Now another possible point of discontinuity was 3. So we will check the continuity at 3. So left hand limit is limit fx as x tends to 3 minus. So this is 3 and we are approaching 3 through left hand side, that is through the values less than 3. So we will put x as 3 minus h. So I'll get limit f 3 minus h as h tends to 0. Now look here. 3 minus h is smaller than 3. So definitely it will lie between minus 3 and 3. So function will follow this definition because our input x, which is 3 minus h, is lying between minus 3 and 3. So I'll get minus 2 and role of x is given to 3 minus h. So it is minus 6 plus 2h. Apply the limit, h tends to 0, I'll get minus 6. Now we will compute the right hand limit at x equal to 3, which is limit fx as x tends to 3 plus. So here we are approaching 3 from the right hand side, that is through the values greater than 3. So this is our x and this x will be greater than 3. So we will put x as 3 plus h. Now as x approaches 3, it means that h will tend to 0. So I'll get limit f 3 plus h as h tends to 0. Role of x is being played by 3 plus h. Now here input is greater than 3. So function will follow this definition and role of x is given to 3 plus h. So I'll get 6 into x, replace x with 3 plus h and plus 2 and limit h is approaching 0. So I'll be getting 18 plus 6h plus 2. On applying the limit, I'll get 20. 18 plus 2. So left hand limit is minus 6, right hand limit is 20. So as left hand limit is not equal to right hand limit, therefore function is discontinuous at x equal to 3. So the only point of discontinuity is x equal to 3. That means except for 3, this function is continuous everywhere. So the only point of discontinuity is x equal to 3.